Now that the Suicide Squad has officially released both in theaters and on HBO Max, I figured we need to talk about the post-credit scenes for this film. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, there are 2 post-credit scenes, and we are talking spoilers here. So if you haven't seen it, then go check out my non-spoiler review. And if you did check out my spoiler review, you probably know that I already talked about the post-credit scenes, but I figured I'd do a separate video as well just to go a little bit more in depth here once again. So, post-credit scene number 1, of course, starts off literally right as soon as the movie ends. It's like, boom, the Suicide Squad. Here's our first post-credit scene where we go back to the beach of Corto Maltese from the beginning of the movie where Team 1 was completely obliterated, very graphically. Turns out Weasel is not dead. Somehow he survived. He still doesn't know how to swim, but he was able to cough up all that water, and now Weasel is alive. Then he just gets up, waddles off, and keeps making that weird, really disturbing, almost sounds like a dying cat kind of noise. But so Weasel is alive. He's out there. He is free on the beach of Corto Maltese. And who knows what he's going to get into there. I mean, Rick Flag said he killed like 27 children. So who knows what kind of mischief he's going to get up to. The only question is this actually going to go anywhere? I honestly don't think it will. I mean, it would be cool if we saw him return in the next Suicide Squad movie, or maybe even in the Peacemaker spin-off or some other spin-off. I think that'd be really cool, but at the same time, I think that this post-credit scene was really just more so meant to be a joke, and like it's cool, like, oh yeah, of course the first character to die in the movie didn't really die, and of course Weasel's the one that survives. But anyway, still cool nonetheless. But the second post-credit scene, or I guess you could call it the end credit scene, is really the big one because this sets up the Peacemaker HBO Max series. Because we have the characters of John Economos and Amelia Harcourt, played by, of course, Steve Agee and Jennifer Holland. Those 2 characters, of course, being members of Amanda Waller's crew, who actually betrayed her early in the film. So now their punishment for, whacking her in the head with a golf club, even though they weren't the ones that actually did it themselves, their punishment is they have to go deal with Peacemaker, because it is revealed that John Cena's Peacemaker is actually alive. Because, of course, earlier in the film, we saw that Bloodsport shot him, and his bullet went right through Peacemaker's and actually ended up shooting him in, like, the jugular. So I'm honestly not completely sure how he actually survived that. You'd think that'd be kind of like an instant kill type thing. But somehow, he survived. His body was found in the wreckage, and he is now once again alive. And Jennifer Holland's character says that they need him to save the effing world. Which makes sense, because Peacemaker is the only one that truly will actually follow the orders of Amanda Waller. Literally everyone else betrayed her, both teams, especially the second team when they decided we're going to go after Starro, but Peacemaker was the one that actually followed her orders with his whole side mission of retrieving the hard drive disk thing and making sure it didn't leave Corto Maltese. So he was 100% a trooper for her, and he was always determined to keep the peace and all that stuff, even though it's a really twisted conception of what peace really is to him. But I guess everybody can have their own opinions. It's just kind of a weird definition of peace for him, but whatever. So yeah, now this obviously is setting up his spin-off series on HBO Max, Peacemaker, because both of these characters with Amelia Harcourt and John Economos have been confirmed are also starring in the series alongside John Cena's Peacemaker. But the only thing that I'm a little confused about here is because it has been confirmed that the Peacemaker series is a prequel, unless James Gunn is going to all of a sudden come out and say that, hey, just kidding, it's not a prequel because we just didn't want to spoil the movie for you, so now that you know that he's alive, it's actually taking place after. But, I mean, he said that it's a prequel. There's 8 episodes. They're coming out in January. So, I'm interested to see how this goes, because this is something I mentioned in both my spoiler review and actually my death prediction for this movie, is that I have a feeling that it'll be like, alright, so Season 1 will be the prequel series, showing his origins, showing how he eventually ended up in prison and then ended up joining the Suicide Squad and got in this whole situation. And then maybe Season 2 would do a time jump and take place after the Suicide Squad and after this post-credit scene. So I think that would make sense, but then again, at the same time, I don't know how the connections to John Economos and Amelia Harcourt would come in. So yeah, I'm not completely sure. I'm still confused because, again, everybody keeps saying it's a prequel, and like James Gunn and John Cena have both said it's a prequel series, so I'm not completely sure. I'm definitely interested to find out. At the moment, it's supposedly a prequel, but at the same time, this post-credit scene set it up to be after the Suicide Squad. But again, who knows? We really do not know for sure. Hopefully we get an official update, an official statement from James Gunn or John Cena soon, now that the movie's out in theaters and on HBO Max. So definitely super excited to get an update on that. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the post-credit scenes for the Suicide Squad? Finding out that both Weasel and Peacemaker are alive. And what do you think is going on with the Peacemaker series? Is it a prequel? Is it not? And what is this mission that they need Peacemaker to save the world? So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.